The most important part of your life is to understand yourself from the inside. Learn how to understand yourself better by listening to these quotes by Sigmund Freud. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, first make sure that you are not, in fact, just surrounded by assholes. From era to era, one discovers the entire truth. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. The best is always the enemy of the good. Every normal person is really only partly normal. A woman should soften, but not weaken a man. A father's death is the most important event, the more heartbreaking and poignant loss in a man's life. The voice of the intellect is quiet, but it never tires of repeating, and listeners are found. Depression is a frozen fear. Thought is action in rehearsal. Friendship is an art of keeping distance, while love is an art of intimacy. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery. Who lacks sex speaks about sex. Hungry talks about food. A person who has no money, about money. And our oligarchs and bankers talk about morality. History is just new people making old mistakes. We adults don't understand children because we don't understand our own childhood anymore. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. People are more moral than they think, and far more immoral than they can imagine. We seek more to take suffering away from ourselves than to gain pleasure. In the small matters, trust the mind. In the large ones, trust the heart. We are never so defenseless as when we love, and never so helplessly unhappy as when we lose the object of love or his love. We enter the world with loneliness and lonely leave it. Avoid women who talk a lot about sex, because often they have gotten a psychological breakdown from the lack of it. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. Religion is a universal compulsive neuroses. The scope of one's personality is defined by the magnitude of that problem which is capable of driving a person out of his wits. Nothing costs so much in life as illness and ignoring an illness. A joke makes it possible to satisfy a lustful or hostile instinct, despite an obstacle in its path. Maturity is the ability to postpone gratification. Without love, we fall ill. There is no need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. Words have a magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or the deepest despair. All family life is organized around the most damaged person in it. Happiness is a child's dream, fulfilled in maturity. No mortal is capable of keeping a secret. If his lips are silent, his fingertips speak. Betrayal oozes from him through every pore. Limitation in the possibility of enjoyment raises the value of the enjoyment. The only person with whom you have to compare ourselves is that you in the past, and the only person better you should be. This is who you are now. Recognizing a problem is half the success in solving it. A husband is almost always only a substitute for the beloved man, and not this man himself. How bold one gets when one is sure of being loved. We do not randomly choose each other. We meet only those who already exist in our subconscious. The secret of the human soul lies in the psychic dramas of childhood. Get to the bottom of these dramas, and healing will come. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes, but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what directs his conduct in the world. The energetic and successful man is the one who succeeds in transforming the fantasies of desire into reality. Masturbation is one of the primary abodes, the primary addiction. Subsequent addictions, alcohol, tobacco, morphine, are only its substitutes. Perfect, eternal, hate-purified love exists only between the addict and the drug. Love and work, work and love, that's all there is. Everyone owes nature in death. The only shame in masturbation is the shame of not doing it well. You do not stop looking for strength and confidence outside, but you should look inside yourself. They have always been there. Self is a good exercise. We are so made that we can only derive intense enjoyment from a contrast and only very little from a state of things. When people marry, they no longer live for each other as they did before. They live with each other for someone third, and dangerous rivals soon appear for the husband, the household, and the nursery. If youth knew, if age could. The first indication of stupidity is a complete lack of shame. All adaptation is partial death, the disappearance of a particle of individuality. A busy man is seldom visited by idle friends. No flies fly to a boiling pot. A woman will never want sex with a man who doesn't get her hints. When one does not have what one wants, one must want what one has.